This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte, a City of International Success, is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Coming up next on Charlotte, a City of International Success, I will interview Lucia Zapata Griffith. And we're going to talk about the field of architecture and how to diversify yourself to be successful. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Charlotte, a City of International Success. I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Today, our guest is Lucia Zapata Griffith. Lucia is the founder and CEO of Metro Landmarks. Welcome to our show.
Welcome to our house, Maha.
Oh, you have a beautiful home, and thank you for letting us in.
Thank you.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
And also, Lucia, I have seen you around for a long time, and you're like a little energizer bunny. You're everywhere. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more. And so, where are you originally from, and what is your background?
Well, I'm originally from Lima, Peru.
Oh, okay.
The oldest of 4 kids. Have 2 brothers and 1 sister, the youngest. I came here in 1985.
Oh, okay.
That's when I moved.
That's when you moved. So you're the oldest of your siblings. So total 4. Okay. And what did your mom and dad do?
Well, my dad worked for a bank for 30 years. And
Oh, wow.
my mother was a homemaker. She worked until my second brother was born, and then she was a homemaker, took care of us. She was an inspiration for all of us on everything she did at home. And she was from Lima, one of 2 sisters. She actually moved here the last 2 years of her life, so she's been in Charlotte and visited many times.
Oh, how wonderful is that? That is beautiful. So, you know, when we were talking before the show, you were talking about a lot of mentors in your life, but that really got started with your mom, right? So tell me a little bit about how you were brought up with what kind of values and what kind of outlook on life.
Well, both my parents were very encouraging on studying, on putting the effort, on staying busy, never be bored. There's no reason to be bored. You always have to do something. And that was from both of them. My mother in particular, though, was a role model. Her name was Lola. And, Lola, a lot of people here, my friends know her because she's come and visited many times too. But she was really encouraging us as a woman. My sister and I both, and told us always to learn things, to be aware of what's going on, to feel good where you go and just be interested in people. Both my parents always encouraged respect whoever you're with, whether that was the president of the bank or the neighbor or a friend or the person at the store. So those were things that they instilled a lot on us, the respect for everybody. They also talked to us a lot about being curious and being interested in what's going on, learning.
Oh, I like that.
If we went somewhere, we need to know what's that place about, what do they do. We went to the bank to visit my dad's office. He would want us to learn what was going on in that section of the bank and explain. And in my mother, all this time was always teaching us something. I remember all our times where she taught me before I went to school to read, write, multiply, math.
Oh,
I
really?
skipped a couple of grades in school because she
Not
taught
quite a
me at home.
housewife. You're talking
No.
about a teacher.
No,
Oh, wow.
she was teaching all the time, and
Yeah.
she would talk a lot to us about the world, what was going on around, not only in Lima where we lived,
Yeah.
but our country, and would tell us what was going on in the world for politics or for events that were happening. So she was always doing this and reading the paper and talking to us about, oh, this happened today in the paper, and what do you think about this? And wanted also our thoughts and our opinions, even though we were kids. She wanted us to be engaged, not just listen to what was going on and, oh, well, you know, no interest of us. No, she wanted, what do you think?
Oh, wow.
She did a lot of that with all of us, and in particular with my sister and I. She always talked, you girls need to read. If I asked, can I go to the library? The library was not closed. We had to take public transportation. And she was very, also kept us close and wanted to know where we were. I said, oh, sure, you go into the library, go. First thing I got, I think ever, was my library card. You know, that was some document, was my library card. She will encourage that and said, go in the library at school. She wanted us to try to learn beyond our space, beyond the space of our home or of our neighborhood. So as we grew up, that interest from friends also that travel piqued my interest in coming to visit the United States.
Really, what you're talking about is, as a parent and parents, what they taught you is, first thing, to be respectful, and then also fearless, and then learn to really work with people, understand what's going on around you so that you're knowledgeable. You can talk to anybody. When you have that kind of knowledge, you can talk to anyone, irrespective of the age or positions, wherever you travel, right? Or meet some people. And also the major thing nowadays that a lot of kids or the companies are asking for, really soft skills, social skills.
Very much so. And they encourage not to be intimidated. So if you go somewhere, first know what's going on so you come informed.
Yeah.
And if you meet somebody, try to learn from that person. My mom used to tell, I was very little, and we'll go walk on the streets, oh, Dad, this is Mrs. whoever, and she does this, her husband, they have 2 kids, and I said, you were a little kid, but she will encourage us to learn about the people and about the place. And not to be intimidated has helped me a lot in life. To know how to talk to anybody and respect and listen. My friends joke that I talk a lot.
Well, that's okay.
And it's part of the wanting to have conversation. But it was from that teaching of my mother. Try to engage with people, and it's helped me to this day. To this day, wherever we go, I learn that from them.
Yeah. And so, when did you come to the United States first time?
Well, the first time was after high school.
High school.
And one of the things that interests us was international cultures. And I had a friend who was an exchange student to the United States. So in talking, I said, well, I would love to do that. The tradition is when you finish high school, you go on a prom trip. Most of my friends went to Buenos Aires or Rio. They went on a class trip. And, but I wanted to come to the United States. So I asked my parents, expecting a no. Because they were very protective. We couldn't go places by ourselves either, you know. And to my surprise, both of them say yes. And my mother encouraged us, say, fine, go. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn English. You're gonna go. This is before internet, before phones. Cell phones were so accessible. Yeah. And they said yes. So I came as an exchange student to Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville. Oh, nice.
And I lived with a family that to this day were like family. I came expecting very different things. And when I came here and I lived with them, I found that it was pretty much the same as my family.
So was it an American family?
It was an American family.
Really?
And they were very close-knit. It's 2 daughters and the parents. They were talking a lot amongst themselves. I found another person there was their mom, who was like my mom, talking about what was going on, let's go here. And I go, oh, this is very similar to my own home.
Yeah.
And they also volunteer a lot. And that was, I think, my first exposure to community volunteering. They were doing Meals on Wheels. They were volunteering at the church. They were candy, I can remember how it's called in the hospitals when volunteer on Saturdays. So I saw that was a little different from what I had seen through my elementary and high school. The involvement in community efforts and how they value it. And it was part of life, part of the schedule. We're doing this today, this tomorrow, and it was just part of family life.
Wow, so really the community service, which is huge in the U.S., especially I think in Carolinas, it's even more.
In Charlotte.
You know, in Charlotte it's huge. You know, everybody want to make sure that, you know, they contribute to the betterment of the community. So then did you go back?
Well, I came as an exchange student for 2 months. I went back to Peru, went to college, became an architect.
Architect?
I'm an architect and registered.
Is that common to a woman to be an architect in Peru? Or
in
not?
Peru, I found it's more common than here, actually.
Really?
Our classmates were basically half and half, men and women, which is, it was surprising to me when I came here that it's less common here to be an architect, a woman architect. The schooling in there was, architecture is a profession that goes a little bit between the arts, science, in reality because you have to build what you create.
Yeah.
I love the profession, and I have good friends that I work with later on, and I practiced before I moved here.
You
in Peru.
practiced over there. And you had to be quite young at that time. So obviously, you know, I mean, I see it as sometimes in life, there are different parts of our life, different stages. There's always somebody who mentors you in some way. So was there a relationship like that for you when you were growing up in your field?
In my field, yes. A good friend of mine, her parents, both husband and wife, were architects.
Yeah.
She, the mother, happened to be only one of 4 women in a school of thousands of architects and engineers, because women weren't going to architectural school in her generation.
Right.
My generation was a little more popular. It's still, I think it went back a little bit. There are less now. But she and her husband, I worked with them in the summers.
Yeah.
And they were very funny because they were also similar to the family in Greenville, very involved doing community things in Peru, but also involved in politics and doing things for projects. So the husband had founded a political party in Peru and was Secretary of Housing. I worked for him through my college years. So when I graduated, we had elections. He became Secretary of Housing. He asked me to come and work with him.
Yeah.
And I'm saying with, not for, because it was really an amazing experience to work with a person of his expertise, his position, and feel like I was working with him and with another engineer and creating a new organization for Peru.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible experience for me as a young professional, as a young woman, because the projects that we worked on were directly pet projects of the president. So the president of our country was our client, per se. So I was, you know, all this teaching growing up of not being intimidated, of learning and being informed became very valuable at that time. And the ability, like you said before, the soft skills, not just the professional knowledge, but also the soft skills. So we could communicate what we do. We could explain our projects. And we went to the government palace to present our boards and our drawings, and the president will come and look, and it was quite an experience for me, and to share that with my parents, to share that with my mother. My mother, who had always been my role model on trying to learn and know how to communicate. She couldn't teach me architecture, but she taught me everything else that helped me be an architect out there. And so that was an experience quite incredible
so
for me.
You actually worked, you know, for the housing, however, really, you know, president as a client. So how did you start your business? Now you had to tell this person, right?
Yes, my mentor, the organization, we started, the 3 of us, it became hundreds of people. And he was an incredible person. I very much admire the balance that he and his wife had between work and business and community and family. Family was so important. Wow. So he was very important for me as a mentor overall, and his wife as well. But I had the bug that I wanted to start my own business. So I said, how do I tell him? We started exposure I had gotten in this and tell him. So one day I went to say, well, I need to talk to you about a project. I have an idea. And he goes, okay, let's talk. And I thought, I really want to start my own business, and I think I'm going to leave the organization. He goes, well, and he said words that I never forgotten. He said, that's a great choice if that's what you want to do. I completely encourage you. He said, when you are in a existing organization, there is a system, there is organization, there is all of this that protects you. It's like you have a roof under you. So when you go and start something on your own, it's like you're your own. There is no roof, there's no protection, there's going to be rain and water. You're going to have to know it will be challenging to be in your own business. But he said, you don't have a roof, but you'll be able to see the stars. You can see the stars. Like, he said that and it's stuck in my head. So in the times through the profession later on working, the profession goes along with the economy, the good times, the slow times, the very challenging moments. I always thought about the good ones, the ones where I was looking at the stars, and I said, this balance is off. This just keep plugging along. And
that was beautiful, beautiful analogy of really making you think about, you know, a field where when you work in a particular company, especially a large organization, a sense of security. And then when you want to venture on your own, because you have seen that happen, and so when you want to venture on your own, to say you're not going to have that protection, but you're going to see the stars.
Yes, so that I stay with me
yeah.
to this day. I will take it for good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So when did you come back here?
I came back. I was practicing in Peru in '85. I came to explore moving to the United States, and we had I came to Greenville to visit the Batsons, just to see them, the family, my exchange family. One of the daughters was living in Charlotte. So they said, you need to come and see Edith at least for a day. So I came to see her before she left to the beach for the summer. And that day was life-changing for me because she told me about Charlotte. Said, you're an architect, you're a builder, why would you try to go DC and New York and other places? There's so much going on here. So,
because that's all people knew, right?
Yeah.
Big cities,
Yes.
at that time especially.
Yes, especially
So
coming
it's all
from
about-
Lima.
Everything is New York and Washington, D.C., right, at
Yes.
that time?
At that
Yeah.
time it was. So she connected with AIA, and I came and visit with an architectural firm. And I was very lucky and fortunate. They offered me a job right away. And I came and worked as an architect here. Actually, was considered an intern architect because I couldn't be licensed here when I first arrived until I took all the training and the exams and so on to become a registered architect, which I did in 1990.
So you had to study again, or?
I had to study, and I remember going to the library again,
Are you
like I
like
did
me?
as a kid. I was taking my
No
daughter.
permission needed this time, but you had to.
I took my daughter, and she'll do her little drawings and things, and I'll be studying for the exam. That exam was a week exam and a bunch of sections, so I had to study again, and I did, got the license. And then I was working in a firm, but then I got the bug again to go and start something on my own here.
Wow. And you said you have one daughter?
I have one daughter.
Wonderful. Well, and you're married.
Yes.
And what is your husband's name?
My husband's Mike Griffith.
Mike Griffith. What does he do?
He's a CPA, that's business operations for a company, a local company. We have stepchildren too, who I adore very much, and we're all a big blended family.
Large family. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know, I do want to talk to you about this field because not many women, as you said, are in this field. And in your case, you not only did the architecture, right, design and all that, but didn't you say that you also at some point went into construction and real estate? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, one thing that is, I think, very important in many, many fields, and maybe all of them, is diversify what you know. I learned architecture. I studied in Peru. I registered in Peru. I registered in the United States. But when you read a lot about what's going on in the industry, there are a lot of areas that get more or less affected by the economy. So I figured diversifying knowledge was important, and knowing what else can I do besides designing these buildings. So I figure we can build them, construct them. We can also do some real estate learning and try to expand the knowledge on the field of buildings.
Now you got your license from CPCC?
I took my classes of real estate at CPCC,
real estate?
all of them, and I got my license as a broker. And I have CPCC to thank for that.
Yeah.
So I got a license as a real estate broker, and then I trained and got a license as a general contractor. So when I opened my own business, we did design and then migrated into doing design build. So we designed and built and did a little development, found a little piece of land, and that's where the real estate came so handy for values, for cost, for finding the best locations and doing analysis of cost and value. So although that was not only architecture, so while architecture is the core, there are a lot of other fields. So for women that go in the profession, I think it's important to not see yourself just as a designer, that you can sit down and design buildings and structures, but there's a whole myriad of things you can do with that knowledge. You can become property managers, you can be corporate transformational managers. When corporations move, architects have the critical thinking, organization skills. So try to apply them on something else. That through the recession, that's what helped be able to move from one part of the field to another.
Oh, that's such an important point. Because economy, I would think a field like this is directly dependent on the way the economy is going to go. If it's good, you're good. If it's not good, you probably will struggle. So by diversifying, you can also go into the other things that you can do while the economy is recovering.
Right.
Am I right?
Right. Very much so.
Wow. Yeah.
And it
that's
is helpful to see what else is going on new sciences, new computer
Yeah.
abilities in the building industry. So I think there's always more to learn, and the more we try to keep up with what's going on. We had the LEED movement for green construction that was new in the field.
okay,
so
I see what you're
I got the
saying.
LEED registration to learn
Yes.
about it, and it evolves. It's always changing. So
And then you need to change and evolve with
you
your
need to
field
change with it. Mhm.
to be really up to date.
Absolutely.
So, you know, in a field like this, what are the advantages of being in a field like this?
I think that you can move anywhere and work in the field. I came from Lima, Peru, completely different construction
Yeah.
technology than in the United States, and I was able to transfer those skills. I think you can go, you're movable with that profession, you know, and I think there is a lot of similarity on the needs because families need the same things wherever you are. Companies need the same things. So what you learn in one place is valuable in many. And they are not tied to inventory, to equipment. You're not tied to specific vendors. You can move with the profession to
like
many
that.
different fields in many different places.
What are the challenges before I go into, you know, what you need to have to succeed? But what are the challenges? We talked one thing was really about the economy, directly economy dependent. Is there anything else that?
I would say the economy is the most critical
Yeah.
for the construction industry, probably for a lot of industries. But you feel it early. Is we have a talk. Say when the surveyors start not being busy, you know the economy is already on some sort of wave.
Yeah.
Because they start doing the land surveying and so on. So it's a little bit of a barometer, a thermometer of how the economy is heading. I would say that capital, because for you to move and do your own projects, capital is intensive. So you have to really have big investments to do a project. I think those two basically
Would
runs
be-
around the economy. Mhm.
You talked to me about community. You know, you have learned, you know, from especially your godparents here, you know, the exchange when you're an exchange student, and about the importance of community. I know you serve on many boards. You know, you have served on many boards and you continue to serve. What is it that, why do you need to contribute to the community? And then what is this, by serving on these boards, what do you learn in return?
I completely think it's a two-way street.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
I think what I learned through first my parents talking about be interested and learn is what you see in the community that you can do.
Yeah.
It's I think a little bit of an obligation. If you have an ability and a capacity,
Yeah.
there's so much time during the day to do things, but you can always carve some. I always tell women not to try to do everything at the same time. And you want to raise kids, have a profession, and volunteer. Men do too, but we have certain things that we are moving along in the world. Community service, I think in cities like Charlotte, give you options. You can volunteer even if you have computer ability. You can do it from your kitchen table or your home, or you can go as an architect and try to, if there's an organization that are going to expand, you can contribute with your own knowledge.
Yeah.
I think you also learn. I've served at the Planning Commission
Yeah.
for 6 years, and while my profession was valuable for what I was doing,
Yeah.
I learned a lot of what was coming to the city, where was the city heading. It makes me an informed community person and makes me an informed architect because then you know what's going on coming to your profession as well.
Yes.
I think in the case of Charlotte, we have an incredible volunteering community.
Yes.
But there is also the volunteering community quietly doing things in their places of worship or their own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They closed one block the other day here in the neighborhood. They were doing something for the kids.
Ah.
That's all community involvement. So I don't think it's only by being in organized volunteering, but I do encourage people that can
Yeah.
and support others doing it. You know, somebody told me one time, if somebody opens a door for you,
Yeah.
you need to hold that door open for someone else.
Ah.
So I think as we serve, we need to see who else can come and follow. And same with our profession. Who else can we help mentor now that we're older and
Yeah.
we have a little bit behind our story? Help someone else come and do the same thing because there's a lot of need for that.
I love that. I love that. Really, in order to have especially for a professional woman, I think the balance of serving the community, having the family, as well as doing your work, your job, the three-prong approach, as three legs of a stable person, as a professional as well. Tell me about what are the qualities that, somebody aspiring, to be in a field like this, which is very unique?
Well, I think the first is not to be intimidated. To go ahead and feel that if you practice, train, read, and learn, you can do it. If somebody else could do it, you could.
Yeah.
The second is not to be dismissive of anybody around your field, whether the person is creating the big projects or the person is working in installing the framing. They all have knowledge that if you can learn from both ends, makes you a better professional. And I would say to lean on people that are along your peers, learn from peers. I have had peers that I have learned a lot from, and hopefully it's an exchange of information that happens. And I think that's the main thing, just learn, not be intimidated, and contribute back.
I really like that because, again, back to being a unique field, for people to really understand that you can do anything if you put your heart into it, and if you have a passion for it. And there are so many resources here. You can get involved in the community, you can get your education, and you can also learn a lot by serving others. You learn from them. So this, a comprehensive approach to a successful person, right, in a field like this. So you definitely are an example of that, and it is pleasure speaking with you. And thank you so much for being on our show.
Tremendous pleasure to talk to you, Maha. Thank you.
I know it's always fun when I chat with you. And thank you for watching Charlotte, a city of international success. I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Please join us again next time, right here on WTBI PBS Charlotte.
A production of PBS Charlotte.